Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily Brinkworth, and I'm here to talk to you about hydroponics, the agricultural revolution. Throughout the presentation, I will be discussing what is hydroponics, the history behind hydroponics, how does it work within our society, the advantages and disadvantages of hydroponics, how much food you can produce, and some final words. So what is hydroponics? Hydroponics is the method of growing plants in a nutrient mineral solution without the use of soil. Now some history on hydroponics. Hydroponics was first introduced by the scientist John Woodward in 1699 for his experiments of using water on his spearmint plants. Then, more work was done in soilless cultivation in the late 19th century, but it wasn't until Dr. W.F. Grekel in the 1920s from the University of California. He was the first to perfect a soilless cultivation solution that he was able to use on plants to make them grow effectively. But then, the hydroponic solution was developed by scientists Hulligan and Arnold in 1938. Their method was actually used by World War II American soldiers in the Pacific Islands when they had no food. So they used the hydroponic solution to grow some to feed their soldiers. And now, it's making a global transition all over the world. Countries everywhere are working to perfect their own hydroponic farms in an effort to grow more food than ever before. So now the big question, how does hydroponics work? Hydroponics works by having an air stool in a water chamber that provides the carbon dioxide that the plants need in order to breathe. Then the water containing the carbon dioxide flows to a nutrient pump, which provides all the essential nutrients and vitamins that the plants need in order to survive. So the water then containing the carbon dioxide, the nutrients, and the vitamins flow up a tube into the shelf containing the plants. Now, each shelf must have a water current that flows from one end to the other to make sure that all the plants within the shelf get the vitamins and minerals and the carbon dioxide they need. So, after the water flows from one end of the shelf to the other, it then flows down a tube, which then leads back to the air stone. So the water can get recycled into the same system over and over again. Now with hydroponics, the water, nutrients, and vitamins are never wasted. The excess that come at the end of the shelf are always recycled back into the system. So no water, no vitamins, and no minerals are ever wasted when growing plants using this system. So now that you know what hydroponics is and how it works, now we're going to look at a video that explains how hydroponics works within our society.
A romaine.
Mary Ellen Taylor sells her produce at weekend farmers markets near Washington, D.C. The heads of lettuce, still attached to their roots, are popular, and she has many regular customers, like Betsy Kulik.
The lettuce just tastes fabulous. We can come year-round, even in January, February, and March. Her lettuce is very green and tastes just as good then as it does in the summer.
Taylor grows the lettuce and other salad greens on her family farm in Loudoun County, Virginia, about 80 kilometers from Washington.
Isn't this beautiful? I mean, it is so clean. No sand or soil or pests down in there. It is just like a perfectly formed green rose that's edible.
Taylor harvests 4,000 of those in her 2 hydroponic greenhouses each week, all year round. That's why she named her farm Endless Summer Harvest. She has a dozen part-time employees. They're nourished sustainably using recycled water.
That tank has 600 gallons of water with the nutrients. It continuously flows in and out of that tank after it has gone through the system and all of the plant's roots.
Taylor says the 2 greenhouses take up a little over 1,000 square meters of land, but produce the equivalent of a conventional 5-hectare farm.
We've established that it's so productive on small pieces of land, so they can be closer to major metropolitan areas.
So, besides farmers markets, Taylor can sell her fresh produce to specialty grocery stores and local restaurants.
Now that we know how effectively hydroponics can work in our society, another major question people ask is, what food can it produce? Well, right here is a list. It's pretty short, but it's very major in the vegetable category. Hydroponics can produce an abundance of vegetables such as lettuce, tomato, onion, chili, bell peppers, cucumbers, and cauliflower. It can also produce flowers such as roses and carnations, and it can produce cereals such as rice. But sadly, the only fruit hydroponics can produce is strawberries, but that's only because experiments were done using strawberries with hydroponics. But with more experiments, I'm sure more fruit can be used using hydroponics. But the vegetable category is important. Because hydroponics can mostly grow vegetables, with their growing population, this will definitely help feed more people that we need to sustain our societies. Now we're going to talk about how much food you can produce using hydroponics. I have a chart right here. First, we're going to discuss wheat. Wheat. Using hydroponics, you can only produce 5,000 pounds per acre. That's what EPA stands for. And with normal agricultural methods, you can only produce 600. Then when comparing rice with hydroponics, you can produce 12,000 pounds. And with normal agricultural methods, you can only produce 750 to 900 pounds. With beetroot, you can produce 20,000 pounds compared to 9,000. And the same thing with peas, 20,000 to 9,000. Using these statistics, hydroponics has a 45% increase in crop yield. That just proves how much better hydroponics is at producing food than normal agricultural methods used today. Now we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of hydroponics. First, the advantages. There's no soil. Because there's no soil, people don't have to worry about replacing the soil after it erodes away. Not to mention, they don't have to worry about replacing it after it loses all of its vitamins and minerals plants need in order to grow. Next is water is recycled. Because hydroponics is on a closed system, meaning the only way the water can go is to the plant's roots over and over again, there's no waste. But with normal agricultural methods, there is. As water is put on the plants, it flows into the soil, leading it to being lost. Or it can end up into the plant's roots of other plants, such as weeds, or it can end up into animals' mouths. Next is there is a higher yield of crop. Because there's no need for soil, it gives plants extra room to grow. Not to mention, it gives extra space for more plants to be grown. And because the nutrient solution is constantly being flown through the plants, it allows them to gain all the nutrients they need quicker, allowing them to grow faster. Next is a higher percent nutritional yield per plant being grown in hydroponics. Because they're constantly being exposed to a nutrient solution, it allows them to gain all the essential vitamins and minerals constantly, and whatever they can grab, they take in to use to help themselves grow, allowing them to have a higher nutritional value than ever before. Next is there's less bacteria and disease. Because soil is where most bacteria form, leading to diseases developing in the plants, it causes them to die. But because hydroponics does not have any soil, there is less bacteria and disease on the plants. And it's not labor intensive. Because hydroponics is mostly an auto-run system, meaning a computer usually runs the system, creating the ratios of minerals to vitamins per solution and how much carbon dioxide is released into the water, it's not really labor intensive. And because there's no soil, there's no need to replace it after it's gone bad or after it's eroded away. So the only labor that is needed with hydroponics is when plants needed to be put in and taken out of the system, and if the system breaks. Now for the disadvantages. Because of how advanced hydroponics is, the startup costs are high, but because of how much plants you can produce, it's worth it in the long run. Next, it's prone to salmonella. Because of the warm temperatures of the greenhouses that produce these hydroponic farms, and because of the exposed nutrient solutions, salmonella is very prone to growing in those conditions. But if those conditions are monitored carefully and people check for salmonella growth, this can definitely be avoided. Next, clean water. Because most nations around the world are struggling to find clean water as it is, hydroponics might not be the best way for people to grow their food. But if clean water is available, hydroponics is the perfect agricultural method to use to produce food. So, is hydroponics really a good choice? The answer is yes. In fact, it is the choice. With our globe's population increasing and global warming taking into effect and deforestation and soil erosion occurring, we are in need of more land than ever to grow our food to support our populations. So with hydroponics, It is the answer. Its advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Not to mention, it can produce more crops per acre when compared to normal agricultural methods, and it's higher in nutrition in the crops it produces. So hydroponics is the answer. Join the hydroponic agricultural revolution today and start your own hydroponic farm.